All right, Kumite Radio, we're back, and we are back with Jeremy. Jeremy, what's going on? You're the first guest to come back for his second appearance. That's, to me, that's I guess, not really an honor, but I guess it's an honor. I don't know.
Hey, man, I'm glad to be back. I consider it an honor. Thank you for having me back here. I really enjoyed the last time we're here. Any chance I have to talk about MMA, especially MMA in Japan, I'm always on it. Even if I wasn't on a podcast, I'd probably still be just talking about MMA in Japan.
Yeah, you're the man for, to go to for me about Japanese MMA, and that's the reason why, that's why I want you on the podcast, because this weekend there is a big card that's happening, right, with some major fights. So, but before we get into all of that, I want to know, what have you been doing for the last couple of weeks? Because I know in Japan there has been some action, not just with Pancrase, but other promotions. So what's been going on?
Well, in the last couple of weeks since I talked to you, I had an opportunity to go watch another brand of fighting called Lethwei, and that's kind of a Myanmar style, very similar to Muay Thai style of fighting. I'm not 100% sure of how the rules go, but I like what I'm seeing. So when they first started coming to Japan, it was just maybe a few months ago, and they just had a few promotions so far. I think I've been to the last two, which was their third and their fourth promotion here in Japan. And I really didn't know what to expect as I walked in. And just to give you an idea of what happened is, as we walk in, everyone's sitting down. It's basically your Tokyo Dome, one of your arenas around the Tokyo Dome, one of the smaller venues. But the place is packed. I don't know if they're giving away free tickets or not, but regardless of what's happening, the place was just packed. And my company, MMA Japan, we always get like press passes, so they set us up in the press section, which was like kind of diagonal from the ring, because they use a ring, not a cage. And the show kicks off and starts going, and they start playing this really like funky Asian music. It's really like a twangy music while the guys are fighting. And while they're fighting, the guy who's there's a guy on the microphone continuously talking, going, like, pow, 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 which is, I guess, I may be saying it wrong. And if you're a fan of Lethwei and I'm saying it wrong, please write to us and tell us how to say it right. I want to know what he's saying. But I listened to what the Japanese guy explained, and he says, like, this word pow, pow, pow means like that a boy, and good shot, and and the guy's just yelling that into the microphone constantly while this music's going on. Now, one of the cool things about Lethwei that you'll get to learn very quickly while you're watching it is, these guys clinch up. They don't just stand there in the clinch. They can use their head to headbutt each other from inside the clinch. So I saw that the first time, and I'm like, whoa, that's just dirty boxing right there. But they're like, no, that's completely illegal strike, in Lethwei. They also use the knees a lot, and they also use like really straight front kicks. So it was quite impressive watching that.
Well, I guess what they call Lethwei is the art of 9 limbs, right?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, because of the headbutts.
Right.
And there's one of the major guys that I know about, a fighter. His name is Dave Leduc, right? He is like one of the major fighters of Lethwei, and he fights in Japan. I'm pretty sure he fought on that promotion, probably on that card. He is I don't know what country he's from, but I know he trains in Thailand.
I think he's from Canada.
Head. He has a shaved head, tall. You probably
very
see
tall.
him, right?
Yeah, he won the last fight. He won it in the second round by KO. It was 2 minutes and 35 seconds into the second round. And he actually KO'd what was the guy's name? I'm looking at it here. It was, sorry if I say this wrong. It's very, very unusual name for me as a native English speaker. But it's Milmung Korn Sudasakang Jim. Sudasakang Jim.
Yeah.
That was the gentleman name.
Some of those names from those countries, man, it's so long and hard to say. Like, but there's certain names that are cool. Like there's actually this weekend there's a show in Thailand at Full Metal Dojo this weekend, and there's a guy from Cambodia fighting, and his name is Soda Fat.
Awesome.
First name Soda, second name Fat. So hey, you know, you get cool names and then you get those long ones that you don't know how to say. So it's all good. But yeah, Dave Leduc, he is known in, you know, in Myanmar. Now I
Right.
guess it's Burma too. I don't understand that whole what?
That's the same country. Myanmar is Burma. So
Yeah,
it
they're the
was
same country. It's
Burma.
like Holland, Netherlands, or whatever. So
I think it had something to do with World War II. I'm an idiot. I have no idea. Ask me about
but Dave Leduc, yeah, he had his wedding paid for. I think they paid for his wedding in Burma
Wow. Okay.
by one of the like main proponents, or I think he owns some of the like Lethwei promotions or something. So Dave Leduc is a major guy in Lethwei. So he's
Yeah.
probably the number one guy. Yeah, he's really tall. And actually,
Yeah.
I was in Thailand a couple weeks ago, and I met up with him while he was training, and I talked to him, and he's a big dude. You know, he's not like a small dude. He got long arms, long legs, and he could throw down. If you're fighting at Lethwei, you could throw down, and you're tough. So, yeah,
Right.
yeah. Shout
He's
out to Dave Leduc.
He's
Yeah,
got that front kick that kind of like they use their front kick like a jab almost, where they like to stick it out and hit you like you're trying to hit you in your solar plexus with that front kick. I kind of like that style. That's kind of a style that we use more in Taekwondo as well for striking. So if you're gonna use a front kick, it's not really like a swinging kick like this. It's more of a punch with your foot, right?
their hands are wrapped. Did you see what their hands were wrapped with?
From where I was sitting, I thought it was just regular hand wraps like we use
Oh.
we use those in Pancrase inside the gloves too. But I couldn't see if they're padded. I don't think they were. I think when I saw the hands, they were just wrapped. Yeah,
Like
so
with a cloth or something like that?
I think it was just a regular tie. You know, the one you slip over your thumb and then wrap it around, then it has a tie at the end, and then you tape over that.
To me, it's kind of like you remember in Street Fighter 2, the
Yeah.
Indian guy,
Yeah.
Dalism.
No, yeah, doll sip or
Yeah, Dalsib or something like that, and he had that front kick. He had that front kick, you know, like you're talking about, but his legs like extended out, right? So, yeah, maybe they got that that character from Lethwei. Who knows, you know? Because I didn't know about Lethwei until a few months ago.
Yeah, same here. That character that you mentioned, by the way, very good character. I actually have a curry spoon that I got from our local curry restaurant as a promotional gift with that guy on it. He's got his arms all straight out.
That's awesome. Only in Japan you could get that, right?
No, it's really cool because we love our video games over here, right?
Yeah. What else was going on other than Lethwei? Anything interesting you saw? Let's go back to Lethwei before we move on. Anything interesting you saw at the Lethwei event, like that you thought was kind of like odd, or?
I wouldn't say odd. I would just say the things that impressed me about, you know, I can always find something interesting. It's fighting, man. It's the most primal, interesting sport that human beings can play. It's me versus my opponent, nobody else in the middle. It's just, you know, how tough are you and how much have you trained, how much have you conditioned? And that's what I saw when I saw Lethwei. And once again, you know, the female fighters, whoa, those young ladies can bang, man. Got in there and they go at it, you know. And these are very, you know, very petite young ladies, and you know, but when they're throwing those kicks, you can just hear them, whack, whack, you know, coming across even from as far away as I was, right? Yeah, pretty interesting. And there was actually some KOs, you know, among the female fighters as well. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Let's see, what was her name? There was. Well, here I go with the names again. There was Su Halang versus Julia Stolarenko. And Stolarenko, I think she's from Holland or somewhere in that area. She won in the second round by KO. 1 minute and 30 seconds into the second round, she won by KO.
Wow.
Pretty good fight, excellent fight. The young lady from Holland, Julia, was her first name. She was very tall as well, and she had quite a long reach. So I think that was a bit of a mismatch, but it came out in her favor at the end.
It's pretty nuts that somebody that's not from Southeast Asia is training Lethwei, because you know, like you and me, we didn't even hear about Lethwei until a few months ago.
Right.
And someone outside of Asia was training it and came here to fight in the promotion. It's pretty it's pretty unique that they knew something. They knew Lethwei, you know, and we're here. We should have heard about it a long time ago, right? So it's kind of
Yes. Yeah. So I'm thinking like I've never been to Myanmar, and I don't know what the tourist situation is like over there. I don't have any reference, but I bet they probably have tourism over there, and that people come over to see what it's like. And when they're over there, if they're interested in martial arts, you might want to find out what the local martial art is. Like even like if you go to like the Philippines or some place like that, they have the Philippine stick fighting, and they also have like Salat, which is I guess that's Indonesian, right? Indonesian
yeah.
Salat, right? Those are things I didn't know about back in the 80s and 90s until I got to, and actually, until I actually came to Asia and started living here. And I was like watching these dudes, like a couple hours from where I live, training with knives and just like doing this impressive knife fighting. I'm like, wow, that's like a whole different level.
You know what's the funniest one that I seen was the and it's very close to MMA is the one from Russia. What's the one that they have in
Sambo,
Russia? Huh?
Sambo.
Yeah, Sambo, right? They're wearing like cut off
Yeah.
sleeves.
Yeah,
but
and the gi with the sleeves cut off and shorts,
yeah, it's
wrestling shoes.
yes, it's so unique. Like they mixed everything together. They mixed wrestling with the wrestling shoes. They got the gi for all the like karate and all that stuff, and jujitsu, and then they were wearing the MMA gloves.
Yeah.
The uniform is very unique, but the style, I think, to be honest with you, I think that style is one of the best styles to learn before you become an MMA fighter.
Yeah.
They have
So,
submissions and everything too.
as you know, Japan is very close to Russia, and we have a lot of Russian people that come home and live over here. They brought Sambo with them, and a lot of the guys that I roll with also train in Sambo too. So they love to get in there and just like do a lot of these Sambo hard throws. Sambo also really focuses a lot on leg locks. So you get these guys who focus on leg locks. A guy out of the USA, he also studied Sambo. He's right now he's a 10th planet Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Chris Herzog. That guy's a high-level Sambo guy as well.
Yeah.
You watch some of his videos online, those are quite impressive, man. I mean, I've actually talked to him. The guy's a brilliant dude, really nice, friendly. I mean, I've never met him face-to-face, but we had this email exchange back and forth where he was trying to tell me, how to improve the technique called the Ghost, which he has a video on online. And I just reached out and talked to him. And he was taking all this time to just, write down an email me back like, focus on this. Make sure your hand goes here. Make sure that that your hips go this way. And he was really, really in depth and detail with me, and I thought that was very impressive for someone he's never met before.
I think a lot of those 10th planet guys, they're obsessed. That's a word and it makes them good at what they're in their craft, right? Especially the no-gi stuff. And yeah, Sambo, that's a legit sport, man. Like if you go watch that, they're doing everything, especially like you said, the leg locks. I'm pretty sure you could learn a lot of leg locks from those guys that you train with, right?
Yeah, leg locks are huge here in Japan now. According to BJJ rules, people under black belt can't really use leg locks. You can't use heel hooks at all. You can use a straight ankle lock. You might get penalized for it. Depends if you start putting pressure on the knee. The referee might just call you out, especially if you're fighting a Brazilian person and the referee's Brazilian. He'll say, "Oh, you cheated. You're disqualified." Yeah, so they don't like the leg locks, but the reason they don't like them is because they're very, very super effective.
Well,
Dean Lister put out a whole DVD set, like a four DVD set on leg locks, and I got that DVD set, and it's interesting, like small little tweaks that you can use, just to where you put your hand and how you hold your back up like that when you're gonna take the lock, right? And it's really interesting.
Yeah, man. And right now in no gi, it's all leg locks. Like everybody's winning with leg locks. It seems like because.
Are you going to tournaments over there in your country, in Korea?
Do I compete? You're talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, I did compete twice in the last few years, and yeah, but I kind of keep up with the jiu-jitsu, game, but there's a lot of. I guess bullshit that goes on in the jiu-jitsu world that I don't like, especially with the rules. because
Right.
there's certain tournaments that have certain rules, and certain tournaments only use IBJJF rules, and then those rules are always changing for some reason.
Yeah.
And it's, to me, it's like you just roll, you know, like when you roll at the gym, at the
Yeah.
at your wherever you roll at, you're not counting points, so you're just like rolling, and if you tap them, you tap them. You know, it's not like you sweep somebody and you're like, okay, I have 2 points now on you.
Right.
Right? You're not thinking that, right? So, for the people that are the purists of
Yeah.
jujitsu, like of course they're training all of those things, but for
Uh-huh.
me, I'm just a guy that's just like, I want to train, I want to know how to, you know, do certain moves, and I want to know how to, if I got into an altercation, be able to choke somebody out, right?
Right.
And then practicing it, it's fun at the same time. So
Right.
yeah, but to me, the jiu-jitsu world, like I like the 10th Planet Eddie Bravo's, you know, rule set. It's like,
Same here.
yeah, you submit them, you submit them. If you don't submit them, then it's just like, it's a draw, right?
Right.
I don't understand all that other stuff, but
Well, Eddie
maybe
Bravo's
because
rule.
I'm not that good.
Neither am I, man. Neither am I. I mean, Eddie Bravo's rules is you go into overtime, right? You start after the first round. If no one's won, no one's submitted, they go into overtime, which means that one guy gets to choose a position, and let's say he chooses back. So they get in a back position, and the guy seatbelts him, locks him up with a seatbelt, and then the guy gets a few seconds to escape. And then the next guy sets him down in front, and then the other guy, locks him again in the seatbelt position, and he gets a few seconds to escape. And who has the fastest escape, right?
Yeah.
Or
if submission.
Or if you don't escape from the back hold or seatbelt, then and your opponent does escape, then you will win, right?
Yeah.
So really,
so there's always a clear winner somehow. Like you said, in overtime, you get the back with the seatbelt, or you get the spider web with the arm, and then you can choose which one you want. And if you submit them, if you watch some of his tournaments, like I've watched some of those EBIs, there's some tense moments because guys are in deep submissions and they're fighting it to the end just because they want to have the time run out, right? So they could win because of the escape thing. So it's pretty crazy. I like the rule set. It's
I love EBI because it's like heel hook central. Almost every fight is won by heel hooks, right? It's like you bring your heel hook game, or you don't come at all, right?
How about, have you watched the last one where they had the combat jiu-jitsu?
I know what combat jiu-jitsu is, but I didn't see the last one. No, that's the one where you can strike on the ground, right?
Yeah, well, like with the palm.
Right. Oh, the old same as the old Pancrase.
Yeah. So like they just had one, but the guy that won, he won with the twister.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah. So it was a pretty cool little event. I think it was like a 4-man or an 8-man tournament that he had. But in the next EBI, they're having it again. But I think this time it's women.
Oh, that'll be good. I love women MMA.
Yeah. So it's he's like to be honest with you, he's changing the whole jiu-jitsu game.
Oh, he has since he started the 10th Planet system.
Yeah.
He's the first guy that said no more gis. We're done with the gis, and that's what kicked off the big problem with the Gracies, right? Because the Gracies were very, very traditional people, and they wanted to keep the gi in the game. And Eddie's like, rolling with the gis just gives you handlebars. It gives you grips. You can grab that coat and you work your hands here, and then all the way suddenly up here by their neck.
Serious. But I'm in the gi all the time though. Like if you're just a regular guy, I think the gi is a good way to train, a good way to learn, because there's so much more submissions and it's endless, like what you can learn. So it's never ending. You could just go and learn something new every single time you go to a class. So to me, like as a spectator, I think it's fun to have a gi. But for like watching it, no.
Unless you're a player. If you don't know how to play jiu-jitsu and you just end up seeing it on TV or something, you're going to be bored because you don't know the finer details of what's going on.
Yeah.
So I'm like from the school of thought where you should train with both, because you should train no-gi submission grappling, because in a real life situation where fights do end up on the ground 99% of the time, unless you live in like Alaska or it's the middle of winter, no one's going to have like a big coat for you to cross choke them with, right? You need to learn how to hook how to use your hooking game, right?
Yeah.
How do I pass guard without being able to, grab onto the gi and slide my hips out? I gotta be able to just, pass guard through technique, right? So yeah, it's good to play both, I think. But when you're beginning, definitely start with the gi, and then eventually get into no gi.
Yeah. To me, like even with the gi on, you could kind of mold your game towards like using underhooks and overhooks instead of
Yep.
pulling on the gi, and then
Right.
the submissions that you focus on, it could be more of like chokes, arm bars,
Yeah.
and stuff like that instead of gi chokes, because there's certain guys that only do gi chokes, like they don't ever go for like arms or anything like that. So it all depends on what you like, right?
Right.
Everything, there's no right answer.
Right.
um so what else has been going on in Japan?
Well, I mean, the thing that here is like it's training all the time. But we spend constant, a lot of time training. I train at a dojo in Yokohama called Extreme Jiu-Jitsu, and we have a lot of visitors coming in. So we get a good variety of people to roll with. So I mean, it's Japan, so the dojo's not huge. It's okay, but it's not huge. But we do have a good variety of people. There's usually like 20 to 30 people, which sounds small to you guys, but for us it's huge. 20 or 30 people in the class, and we just do this like Shark Tanks and stuff like that. Recently, what we've been working on is some kind of fun jiu-jitsu rolling drills where if you're a higher belt than the person you're rolling with, you got to put one hand inside your belt. You can only roll using one hand, so you're limiting your techniques, right?
Oh shit.
Yeah. So, but the lower belt can use both his hands. He doesn't have to put a hand in his belt. So that's been quite interesting because like that trains you for situations where like, say if you're rolling and you get injured, you broke your arm, and you're in a life and death situation, you can't tap. There's no tap in a life and death situation. There's live and die. So you got to learn to get comfortable where people are not comfortable. So you learn to roll with just one hand, and I think that's pretty interesting stuff to do.
For sure. Other than like jiu-jitsu, like in MMA in the past couple weeks, have you been to any events?
Well, I'll tell you what. There's only been one event, and that was the Lethwei event in the last month. But coming up now, what's coming up now is we've got Pancrase this weekend, and we've got a badass card for that. And then 2 weeks later, at the end, I guess 3 weeks later, at the end of the month, Rizin has its next event for this year. I'm pretty sure the Deep also has an event in the middle of July, which we'll be covering
Yeah, on
as
the
well.
15th, I think.
Yeah, we'll be covering that one as well. And I think there's no Deep Jewels this month. Yeah.
Yeah, just the deep cage.
Deep Cage.
What's up with Deep Cage Impact? But you don't know which Impact it is. It's just like it's always Deep Cage Impact 2017. Never has a number to it, so it's kind of confusing to me.
Okay, I of course work very closely with Deep. I just started last year working closely with them. Very, very cool promoters. A very nice couple that promotes it. The gentleman who runs it, he's really a pure fan of MMA. He really loves MMA. He doesn't really love doing all the promotional work, but he loves MMA. He just wants a cage. He wants a ring or a cage, and he wants two dudes to get in there and fight. And he doesn't really care about like the small details like you mentioned, right? Oh, this one's called number 78 because the last one was called number 77. He just goes, this is Deep. These are the guys that are fighting. Tickets are this much. Now, that being said, in the past, he's run this all by himself. But now his wife is coming along, and she's starting to make small little changes here and there. So I've been talking with them because I would like to start doing their English commentary for them for their channel, because right now they're only offering Deep commentary in Japanese. So I've been talking with them, trying to work out a deal where my company MMA Japan could actually start doing some of their commentating on their fights in English for them. So that's a pretty interesting prospect that we've been working on. But going back to what we were talking about before, the guy who runs it, the promoter, like I said, he's very, very myopic, and he just cares only about putting on a good show. He doesn't really jump into like long-term thinking like, oh, this is going to be a series in 20 years from now. Someone's going to want to watch that fight. They're going to want to know what number it is like that. Deep is right now they're controlling their own library. They're not letting anyone else have it, like Pancrase in Shuto and Valley Tudo Japan. They've given, those companies have given their libraries over to the UFC, and the UFC's numbering them and putting them up and putting all the dates and information like that. Deep, on the other hand, controls all their own and only focuses on broadcasting their content on their own streaming service. So it's quite an interesting setup.
Yeah, it seems like it. In their next card, I think they have 3 title fights on it. They have the heavyweight, they have the welterweight, and then they have the featherweight championship fights. And some of these guys are, they're big names.
Yeah.
Look at the card. So
I think one of them is Singh, right? Singh is fighting for heavyweight.
Rocky Martinez.
Yeah.
And Rocky Martinez he's a pretty tough veteran too. He's fought everywhere. And Ken, how do you say his name? He's a welterweight. He used to be a heavyweight. I think he was the heavyweight champion.
I'm trying to pull up their site. Hold on one second. Okay, just a second.
Hasegawa, I think that's his name. Ken Hasegawa.
Ken Hasegawa. I have to look at his face.
Yeah, but the unique thing about him is he used to be a heavyweight or open weight champion, and now he's fighting at welterweight.
Interesting.
So basically,
he's dropped quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, he's lost a lot of weight. Yeah. So what it says here is that he's the #1 ranked welterweight in Japan that's not fighting for a major promotion. So it must be something with that. But going back to the last month or so of MMA, has there been any news that has come out of Japan that we should know about?
Any news out of Japan that we should know about? Well, that's a good question. I don't really.
Like in the future, what's gonna happen, certain matchups or something like that we should kind of be interested in.
Well, if you want to talk about Pancrase, the one that's coming up this weekend, there's a fantastic match that we need to talk about.
All right, let's talk about Pancrase.
Yeah, this is a match that's been 20 years in the making. This is Yuki Kondo versus Minoa Man. So Minoa Man has been around forever. If you go on YouTube and you type in Minoa Man, or I think Ikuhisa Minoa is his name, and he goes by Minoa Man. If you type his name into any search engine, YouTube or Google, you're going to just find a wealth of information about this guy. This guy has fought everyone. Now, just because I said he fought everyone doesn't mean he always wins. But the fact that he gets an occasion, he keeps fighting is amazing. He, like Yuki Kondo, both those guys have over 100 fights each. So they fought last time, I think it was Pancrase 8. It was August 9th, 1997. The promotion was Pancrase Alive, number 8. And Yuki Kondo got in the ring and he fought Minoa Man. And he ended up beating him in the first round at 1 minute 35 seconds with a toe hold, believe it or not. So the interesting thing about Yuki Kondo is his background, of course, is pro wrestling. So his style is not like you would see like a guy who's just classically trained as a kickboxer who went to grappling, or a grappler who learned how to throw punches. This guy is a old school pro wrestler who's just tough as nails, fighting another guy who's just tough as nails. And he's been on hiatus for for Pancrase for at least 14 years. And I think he fought his last fight, maybe 14 years ago. So what would that be? 2006, 2005, something like that.
Are you talking about Kondo?
No. I'm talking about Minoa Man.
Oh, Minoa in Pancrase, right?
Yeah, in Pancrase, yeah. So he's been gone forever. He just showed up maybe I think a couple of events ago. I was actually commentating on that event, and he shows up in the middle of the ring. Now the interesting thing about this guy is he is camera shy, and as soon as the camera gets in his face and he's supposed to talk in a microphone, he freezes up. So they made this giant explanation of oh, here comes somebody who's coming to the ring we haven't seen in a long time, and they told us we have a special guest, but they didn't tell us who it was. And as soon as we saw his face and he walked down the Warriors path and got into the ring, I'm like, oh, we know who that is. That's Minoa Man. We haven't seen him forever. And he gets the microphone and they introduce him, ladies and gentlemen, it's Minoa Man. And he's like, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be back to take on Yuki Kondo. It's been 20 years. And as he's saying this, the boom camera swings down in front of him, and he catches a glimpse of the camera. And right in mid-sentence, he just goes, Arr! And he stops and he freezes. And he's just kind of standing there. And he's like standing there for a couple minutes and doesn't say anything. And then they just start playing the music, and then he walks off.
Damn, that's fucked up.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. But he's fought everyone, man. He's fought in those dudes. Like, remember that one guy? He's from China. What was his name? He's like 8 feet tall, and he was a kickboxer in Pride. What was that guy's name? He ended up fighting that guy, and he ended up beating him in the old days.
Is his name Lohan Wu?
Dude, I couldn't honestly say.
Yeah, this guy.
Hong or Hung or something like that.
Yeah, but he's fought everybody. He's fought Satoshi Ishii. He's fought Sokoju. He's fought Bob Sapp.
Yeah.
He fought Hongman Choi.
That's the guy.
Errol Zimmerman.
Yeah.
These are like Don Fry.
Yeah.
He's fought so many guys. It's like endless. Mirko Krokop.
Yeah.
Murillo Bustamante, Phil Baroni, Chemo, old school Chemo, Gilbert Ivo. Man, he's fought so many guys. It's just
over 100
brain
fights.
cells does he have left?
Exactly. Well, as long as there's not a camera in front of him, he's okay. As soon as he catches like a glimpse of a camera, he freezes up for some reason. That's his kryptonite. That's his weakness.
Hey, why does he wear those red panties all the time?
Hey man, I don't judge people. Whatever floats your boat, man. Whatever makes you happy.
I know, but I'm saying like, I wonder what's the story behind his red, bikini briefs that he wears.
I think he's an old school pro wrestling guy, and you look at those like guys like Josh Barnett, catch wrestlers. Whenever they go into the ring, almost always they're wearing the old style. Like wrestling bikinis, Yeah. If you're getting, I guess it's unfortunate if you're fighting them and you get caught in a triangle or something. It's really unfortunate for you. But
and the cup slides to the side or something. Yeah, that's a problem.
I'm gonna have nightmares.
So, who do you think is gonna take this? I don't even really know because these guys, like you said, both of them have over 100 fights. Like I think Minoa Man has like 120 fights.
Yeah.
Is that the world record?
No. Like guys like Jeremy Horn have like 140. Shannon the Cannon Rich has 135 fights.
Shit.
I know there's guys up there who have 300 fights. You start talking about Muay Thai guys? Those
I'm
guys.
saying strictly MMA though.
Oh, if there was only a way that we could look up information, if there was only some kind of internet. Hold on, let's just look it up, man. We have a computer in front of us.
Exactly.
Most MMA fights ever.
What does it say?
Travis Fulton. Travis Fulton was born in 1977. May 29th. He's an American mixed martial artist and professional boxer. Fulton has more documented MMA matches than any other fighter, racking up over 300 fights in just 15 years.
What? 300 fights in 15? God damn.
Yeah, I think he just fought everyone. He's fought UFC, WEC, Pancrase, the Chicago Red Bears, IFL, King of the Cage, Rings.
NFL, NBA.
Yeah. Fights in the parking lot. He fights in the bar. He fights in the bathroom. He fights everywhere. You say good morning to him, he's likely to kick your ass.
I think he fought Anderson Silva for the title. I think is that the same Travis Fulton? The one that was on The Ultimate Fighter?
Yeah, he goes by the name of the Iron Man.
Yeah, I think so. He's a ground guy, right? He's a jiu-jitsu guy.
Says he's a black belt, second dan in Kimpo, but it doesn't say anything about jiu-jitsu. But I mean,
Oh, maybe I'm thinking about a different guy then.
you know what? I mean, but anyone from like he's from Iowa, and that's a huge wrestling state, right? Iowa. Those guys out there, the country boys, they all wrestle.
Yeah.
Coming
What's
from
another fight you wanna? What's another fight on this card?
Oh, another fight on this card. Let's see. You've got Tokudome versus what's that guy's name? Joblin, the guy from New Zealand. Keith Joblin, I think his name is Keith or Kevin.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's fighting Tokudome. And over in Australia, they had this. They had the XFC over there, and they had this promotion called the Road to Pancrase, and whoever won their championship automatically got a contract to fight in Pancrase. So he ended up fighting a Korean gentleman over there, and it was actually a really good fight. It's on YouTube. It's actually even on my website. So I'm pulling it up here just now.
Yeah, let people know your website, you know, like where they can find.
Okay. Yeah, the website I keep referring to and my company that I keep referring to, it's www.mma-japan.net, and we cover all Japanese MMA sports, and not just MMA, but also like pro wrestling and stuff like that. And you can see like a lot of photos that we take. You can hear like a commentary that we give on fights in English. It's pretty interesting stuff. So we cover everything from Shuto, Rizin, Real Fights, Pride, ONE FC, you know, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Lethwei, everything. You name it. If it comes to Japan, we pretty much cover it. In addition to that, we also have instructional videos for like pro fighters. We got gym reviews. Like if you're coming to Japan and you want to go roll somewhere, there's a couple of reviews up there. You can find some good gyms. There's editorials, and there's also like you know, basic, you know, MMA instruction or basic MMA like general news up there. You know, so like I said, so if you have some time, go and check it out.
Of course.
But going back to this fight, we're talking about when this guy's going to fight Tokudome. His name is Kieran Joblin, sorry, and he fought Sung Hwan Han.
Yeah, I know that guy.
Yeah, that guy's actually a really, really good fighter.
He is.
I was really impressed by him. Yeah. And he looked like he was spot on during that fight. But somehow at the end of the day, Joblin ended up pulling off a choke and winning that fight fair and square. And that's how the game goes, right? It's the road to Pancrase. The winner takes it all. And that's the gamble that these guys play when they hop into that cage. And the guys, Joblin's already in Japan. I've seen a couple photos of him walking around. I'm connected with the owners and the management of Pancrase, and they send out these photos of the guys arriving at the airport for us to look at. If we want to post them, we can. He's fighting Tokudome. If you don't know who Tokudome is, Tokudome's a former lightweight king of Pancrase. He just recently lost his king of Pancrase title to Kume-san, who's the current lightweight king of Pancrase. Kume-san is a badass, man. This guy can really bang. But Tokudome-san is also a badass. He's a former UFC fighter. He's been fighting since he was a young man. He's still relatively young. I think he's still under 30. But he has got a lot of fights under his belt. He fought 4 fights in the UFC. He came back into Pancrase. He fought guys like Kitahata. What's that guy's name? Kita Okasan. He fought Kita Okasan. I saw that fight. That was a humongous fight. I saw Kita Okasan take so many punches in that fight, and he just kept going. But Tokudome ended up coming out on top. Ends up taking the King of Pancrase belt. He defended it a couple times, but then he ended up, like I said, losing it to Kume-san just last year. So really good fighter. He's on his way back up as well.
So who do you think has like the advantages? Like what advantages does each fighter have?
Okay, I'm gonna say this fight's definitely gonna be won by Tokudome. I've watched both these guys fight. I've watched Tokudome live, and I've seen a couple of fights from Joblin on the internet. I think they're not evenly matched, to be honest. I think this is kind of I don't want to be rude, but this is kind of a feeder fight, in my opinion, for Tokudome, because they want to get him back up. I think what they want in the future is they want Tokudome to take a rematch against Kumite again, because that was a great fight. Because that happened at the end of last year. So I'm thinking what they're doing is they're setting him up to get another rematch at the end of this year. I don't know that for a fact. It's just my opinion. But I think Tokudome's got incredible boxing. He's a hard hitter. He's got one-punch knockout power. Also, he's deadly on the ground. He's got world-class jiu-jitsu, and he's very light and very light on his feet, and he always ends up trying to take people's backs. Joblin, on the other hand, he looks to me as he's more confident standing. His grappling was not as the same level as Tokudome's. I would say, from my experience, he was kind of like a blue belt, brown belt. I'd say blue belt, purple belt level grappler. So you're going to definitely see him wanting to keep the fight standing. Even though he wants to keep the fight standing, I still think he gets outclassed by Tokudome.
Okay. So we should, if Joblin hangs in there and maybe even goes to a decision, then that's kind of like a win for him then.
If he hangs in there and he pulls it off, that's a strong win for him. Definitely.
Definitely, yeah. Because he just beat the former champ and he just lost the title, right? So it's a huge fight for Joblin, to be honest with you.
Amazing
win.
Yeah, because I would say that Tokudome is one of the best, in the lightweight division. Because, like I said, he's a former king of Pancrase, and he just barely lost to Kumite end of last year.
Hey, I was gonna ask you something. I just remembered now.
Okay.
What did you think about Hayoki's fight? Remember, we talked before the last Pancrase, and Hayoki got starched.
Oh, dude.
That shit was crazy.
I nearly dropped my camera. I was watching that, and I was like, oh. Because they took him out of the cage on a stretcher.
Fuck. I never seen him lose like that.
I've only seen people get hit like that maybe twice in like all of MMA that I've ever seen. All the fights that I've seen thousands of fights, and I've seen people get double knocked out before and everything. But that time, he just turned the corner and he just ran right into a fist going forward while the fist was coming right at him, and he got starched. He fell back and he went straight. His arms went straight, his legs went straight, and he was just like shaking. I mean, that's brain trauma, dude. That's like personality changing. You can no longer remember where your address is. Kind of brain trauma.
Serious. It's like one of the best knockouts of the year in Pancrase. No doubt.
So. And I think he didn't get up very quickly either. I think he laid back there on that stretcher for 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Yeah, he was getting taken care of by the medical staff, and they wouldn't let him stand up. They were just like, lay down, put ice on him, keep him calm, and that was like seriously like one of the best knockouts I've seen in a long time.
That was shocking.
Yeah.
Because Hayoki, he's more of a guy that kind of sits back and kind of analyzes what's happening, and he doesn't really rush in. And for this time, for some reason, he rushed in and just got Donkey Kong bad. Like it was scary. And you were there live, so you probably just seen everything. Like the cameras are not on afterwards when they're carrying him out, so you're probably looking at him the whole time like, man,
I got photos of him getting carried out of the cage on a stretcher. And the fight before his, 2 fights before his, another guy got carried out on a stretcher as well.
Was it the head kick?
Yeah, he got kicked in the head and it starched him. He just knocked him right out. And they ended up carrying that guy out on a stretcher as well. 2 guys in that fight, in that event, got carried out on stretchers.
Shit. Yeah. Hey, it's MMA, man. Like you said, it's just MMA. It's a hard sport. Like,
if you got a local like thing like Pancrase, if you're here in Japan and you can go watch Pancrase and you don't, oh my God, you were missing out, because it is so much fun to go there and see this. Yeah,
it's history right there. Like Pancrase is the first ever promotion, the longest running promotion, right? So you got to go there, and if you are lucky to be in Japan on the right weekend, you got to go down there. And hey, like the arena that they fight at, right? I heard that there's 2 arenas, but they have the same name.
No.
No?
There's only one. There's only one different Ariake. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they fight out a different Ariake until this is going to be the last year that they fight there. A different Ariake is being closed down, probably getting torn down and rebuilt or something. From next year, from February 4th next year, 2018, they're going to be fighting in a new venue called Studio Coast, which is a couple more stations away. It's in Chiba or Shinkiba station. Yeah,
Okay.
and it's a little bit further away, but I think it's actually more convenient because it's closer to the station. You can actually go to the station and walk 5 minutes and get there. Whereas now, if you go to different Ariake, it takes about 10 minutes to walk to the studio, to the arena.
Yeah, less walking is always better.
Yeah. Also, I've been to the new studio because they have rock concerts there all the time. It's like an all standing studio when they have rock concerts there, and I went and saw Tenacious D there maybe a couple years ago. So it's not bad. I think we're gonna have fun.
What else? Okay, there's the main event, right?
Abe versus Miura.
Yes.
Yeah.
His name is Hiromitsu Miura. Is that how you say it? Miura.
Right.
And to me, it's like I look at their records, right?
Right.
Hiromitsu, he's 12-6. The guy that's challenging him, 3-0.
3-0.
That
Yeah.
and I've seen some of the highlights of Abe, right? And he looks like he's a finisher, right?
Yeah.
He looks like he's there to bang, right? But 3-0 and 12-6 is kind of an odd matchup, to be honest with you. But what can you tell us about that?
So Abe's new. Abe's new to the sport. He's a young guy. He's full of fire. He's a straight up killer. Is what I'll tell you about this. This is going to be a tough fight for Miura. Even though Miura's got more experience and he's been around a lot longer, that young Abe, he's got the fire in his belly and he's coming to take that title, man. And I think at the end of the day, I'm calling it for Abe. My opinion is Abe's going to take it by either KO or submission.
Oh, really? He's like the next generation, like up and coming guy that you know about, but nobody else knows about because they just look at the record.
I think if you look at the record, you're missing out. I've seen him fight, and I think he's up and coming, and I think that he has a good shot at this. At Pancrase, they don't make fights like just for the hell of it. There's a reason that he's in that position, and it's very thought out methodically by the people who plan these fights. So I'm telling you, this is one of the fights that you want to keep your eye on.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's the main event, right? Hiromitsu, he in his last fight he won the title, right? He had a very good game plan.
Yeah.
They went 5 rounds, and if my memory is correct, he dominated that fight.
Yes, he did.
For most of the fight because the other guy couldn't do anything to him. Because I think the other guy was trying to take him down and something like that. And
and I think he ended up winning by decision, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, I think he wins by decision. I think like you mentioned before, Abe is a finisher. So if I have to choose between the two, I'm going with Abe. I'm saying Abe's got the fire. He's a finisher. He's going to try to finish it before the 5th round.
All right, that's good info. So when I go and watch it, maybe I'll be rooting for Abe, just because Yeah.
Let me tell you what. While you guys are watching Pancrase, if you are on Twitter, you can go to the hashtag Pancrase288 and follow MMA JPN1, and I'll be live tweeting from the event, and you can interact with me while I'm there. Also, I'll be posting like interviews with the fighters, and if you have any questions or anything like that, I'll try to answer them live on Twitter during the event.
Awesome. What about what is it? Issei Tamura? He's fighting on this card, is he?
Yes. Issei Tamura.
What do you think about his career now? Because he fought in the UFC, he went over to Road and fought in Road. Now he's back in Pancrase in Japan. He hasn't been doing very good as of late. So what do you think about this fight against Nakahara?
Well, I mean, everyone has only a certain amount of fights in their tank, and he might be heading towards the end of his career. there's a reason he's not a main event. He's not a co-main event. He's on the main card, but we'll see what happens. This could be a very, very telling fight for him. If he loses this one, there's no telling what could happen.
What about this girl? I think there's one women's fight on this card. Tanako Murata, the wrestler.
Let me bring it up real quick.
Yeah. I want to know about her because she fought in Rizin too against Rin Nakai, and she lost.
Right.
But I thought that she's still young and she's still developing. So to be honest with you, I thought they threw her in with Rin Nakai way too early. And I'm interested in this fight to see how she does against the Australian girl.
Yeah, well, she comes from a good background. She got trained by Yoshida, who's like one of the best women wrestlers here in Japan, and she's very famous. She's on all the TV commercials. Like she's on all these commercials for like home security and whatnot. You know, Akoma and just making sure that your house is safe. But she's a very recognizable face, and yeah, she is definitely. She's definitely young. She's just getting her MMA career, but she's got a very good background in wrestling. And, you know, as in real life, most of these fights end up on the ground. And her strategy is going to be to get the Australian lady to the ground and try to beat her there.
You think it's going to happen?
She has not been successful yet, but I mean, it depends, you know, maybe she's a late starter. It depends on, you know, on her strategy and how her training camp went. I haven't had a chance to talk to her. I'll talk to her on Saturday during the weigh-ins, and I'll try to assess where she stands at that point.
All right. Now, when you scan through the lineup, you know, like in the prelims and the main card, you know, we talked about a few of the fights, but what is one guy or one fight, other than the ones we talked about already, that we should kind of look out for, that we might not know their names, but they're going to go out there and they're going to probably put on a good show? Who do you think?
Let me just have a look. All right. There is the Hulk. I'm looking for who the Hulk is fighting.
Oh,
so there's Hulk is from Okinawa. Hulk is called Oshiro. He's fighting out of Voss Gym. He always wears like these ripped up shirts and stuff like that, and he is fighting. He is fighting Kawamura-san. Kawamura-san is fighting out of Akuza Gym, and I think that Hulk is going to win this one. Oh, Hulk is he's got a good, strong boxing game. I haven't seen a lot in his wrestling, but if he keeps his standing, I think he's got a good chance.
Okay, so these guys are the bantamweight guys.
Yeah.
These guys are so on the main card, because they're actually pretty high on the card. The third fight from the main event, right? So, yeah, I think that this Pancrase, man, is always going to be entertaining no matter what. And they have guys that you might not know who they are, but they go out there and they bang, and it's like there's so many fights too. It's not like there's like 5 fights. It's just like bang, 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 bang. There's so many fights that come along. So
there's like 18 fights, or at the end of the day, because I don't know how many of them get televised, but a lot of these fights, like they'll put some amateurs in, and you can watch the amateurs go for it as well. And sometimes there's like 13 to 18 fights depending on the card.
Yeah, if you're down, where can we watch this fight?
Okay, all Pancrase events are streamed on UFC Fight Pass. Also, there's Abema TV. I think it's available in Japanese only. It's an application you can download with your smartphone. That's ABEMA TV, Abema TV. That's a free application you can download, and they should also be broadcasting it. I'm pretty sure that the commentation will all be in Japanese if you watch it on Abema. But if you're an English speaker and you want to watch the fights, they always air right after the UFC live events on UFC Fight Pass.
Yeah, I'll be watching on UFC Fight Pass because I won't be able to understand the Japanese guys if I watch it on the Japanese channel. So I'll just listen to the guys like on UFC Fight Pass. Will you be working this weekend?
Unfortunately, no. I'll be there, but I won't be. I won't be one of the commentators. You'll have the same guys as last time. You'll have Guy De Lamo and Stuart Fulton.
All right, but you'll be down there, live tweeting,
That's
putting
right.
up results. You know,
Yeah.
basically commentating on Twitter what's
That's
happening.
right.
All right, and taking photos.
I'll be taking photos and also interviewing the fighters, and I'll have the interviews up and videos up on Twitter and also on Facebook.
All right. Now moving on from the Pancrase event,
Okay.
let's go to like Rizin. Can you give us any news about Rizin?
Well, recently, Rizin just had their promotions, right? So they got everyone talking about their fights that's coming up. Their next event is going to be July 30th, I think.
Yeah, on July 30th. The bantamweight tournament starts on July 30th, correct?
That's right.
So, but you know, like, of course, we know who's going to be in the bantamweight tournament, and we talked about a lot of the fighters, like, is it Queen Reina or King Reina?
King
Oh,
Reina.
King Reina. She's gonna fight. Of course, Tenshin, the to me the hottest, the most up and coming fighter in Japan, the youngest, the most flashy. He could be a huge superstar. You probably agree, right?
I agree.
Yeah, he's a flyweight, and he's fighting on that card. You got Amir Ali Akbari.
Ali Akbari.
He's fighting Taylor King, which is actually a very good matchup, to be honest with you, because Taylor King is very experienced.
Yep.
To me, the best fight on this card is Kitaoka versus Yachi.
Oh yeah,
man.
that's great. Yeah,
That's the fight right there.
Kitaoka, when he enters the ring, he's got this attitude where he's just like looking around, like he's looking at, like, you don't know what he looks like. He's like on ayahuasca or something. He's looking around. His eyes are all crazy. He's looking at the floor. He's looking at the sky. He's looking behind him, like someone's walking up behind him. You know, he's just looking all over the place. He's breathing out of his nose. He's puffing and puffing. He's walking towards the stage, and he's an amazing fighter. Once he gets in there, he won't slow down. He won't stop. I've seen this guy fight so many times, and he's fought all over the place. He's fought Pride. He fought Pancrase. Now he's fighting Rizin. He's fought everywhere, man. And he's fought in some major fights and major fighters out there. That's another guy you want to go on YouTube and just type his name in and see all the people he's fought. Yachi, on the other hand, Yachi is, like you mentioned before, he's young, he's energetic, he's got this great smile. He gets in the ring, he's got the personality. The guy is like lightning. He is super fast and he's super deadly with his kicks and with his punches. I saw him win a first round knockout with a flying knee from across the ring. It was amazing, and it's going to be very interesting to see how these two match up on that day.
Hey, you know what would be crazy if you found out later that Kitaoka was tripping on acid, like in every one of his fights.
That's your opinion. That's not my opinion.
Yeah, I'm just saying it could be possible. You know, you never know. Might come out in a biography or something. I don't know. Documentary.
Whatever.
But who do you think do you think that this tournament, Horiguchi, the bantamweight tournament, right? Do you think the Horiguchi is like the uncrowned king, and basically everybody's fighting to take him out? Do you think that's kind of like what the feeling is of this tournament?
Yeah, didn't he lose once to Kron Gracie?
Horiguchi? No.
Yeah. Okay, I thought he fought Kron Gracie. I'm sorry. I made a
mistake. What was it? The Crusher. He fought Kron Gracie.
Okay.
And lost. But in this bantamweight, I'm talking about Kyoji Horiguchi, the one that fought flyweight, but now he's moving back up to bantamweight for this tournament.
61 kilograms,
yeah. So I don't know. I think, to be honest with you, this tournament is kind of like all based on Horiguchi to show how good Horiguchi is.
Yeah, it could be. It's going to be interesting to watch him fight. The guy's fighting Hideo Tokoro. That guy's amazing as well. I've seen him fight before. His fights are incredible. Horiguchi's has got his job cut out for him in this fight. It's not going to be an easy walk in the park. So that'll definitely be one to watch. Keep your eye on.
He has 70 fights.
A lot, right?
Yeah.
It's something you're going to see a lot in Japan is these guys are getting close to like having 100 fights under their belts. It's pretty amazing.
Seriously. When you like, you're talking about your like your site that you run now. Like
Yeah.
if like somebody's interested and they're going to the site for the first time, is there anything that they should kind of like, you know, read or anything new that you put up that we should
Sure.
kind of check out?
Yeah, I put up articles all the time. A lot of them are based on, you know, what we hear in Japan. Some of them are rumor, and I'll always let you know what they are. If it's a rumor or if it's a real news or, you know, or just an opinion piece, we'll always have it marked clearly. The one that I put up was a very interesting one, and it talks about Charles Burnett, also known as Crazy Horse or Kid Chaos. He and
Oh no, now his name is Felony.
Oh, his new name is Felony. Okay. He's got a new name every week. When I first met him, many moons ago, his name was Crazy Horse. And now, well, even before that, he just went by Charles Bennett. And we got along pretty good. We actually went out drinking once out in Roppongi. And this is, 13 years ago. And it was pretty interesting. So what I was going to say is this article that I put up on a site recently talks about his ongoing battle with the world-famous Wanderlei Silva. So just to give you like a complete, you know, overview of what's happened so far in the story this far, is that back in 2005, I guess, during Pride, if you notice I'm wearing a Pride t-shirt.
Of course, representing.
Yeah, that's right. So back in the day, Wanderlei Silva, Crazy Horse, and Cristiano Marcelo, they were all in the same locker room, and there started to be a couple of words going back and forth between Wanderlei Silva and Crazy Horse. And you know, I think Crazy Horse had just got done fighting. He was a little bit tired, and he wasn't very happy. You know, anyways, he wasn't in a good mood, and he didn't like the words that Wanderlei Silva had chosen, to say to him. So he told him, you know, shut the fuck up. And then I think Cristiano Marcelo, who's also Brazilian, very good guy, he didn't like the fact that Crazy Horse had just disrespected his friends. So Cristiano Marcelo stepped up and started standing right behind Crazy Horse. And those two guys got into it. They started arguing with each other. Interesting side note. I just met up with Cristiano Marcelo, last month, and I got a video of me interviewing him on the website. So if you ever check out the website, make sure you check out that video because we talk about this instance. So going back to the story, during that time, Crazy Horse said something to Cristiano Marcelo, inferring to the fact that he might be interested in men rather than women, and said, let's, if you got some problem, why don't you step up? And what happens is Crazy Horse charged him and knocked him down, and while Cristiano was on his back, he ended up getting Charles in a triangle hold. But Charles slipped out. He pushed the knee down. And he slipped out, hit Cristiano a few times in the face with a couple of overhands. But Cristiano got a hold of his arm, popped his legs back up, got him in a triangle, and put him to sleep. He put Crazy Horse to sleep. Now, that is where the video stops. Years later, I got to know some of the guys who were in the back room, as I mentioned, with them when this happened. So the part that you don't see is the part that happens after that. After somebody, separated the two guys and Cristiano walked away, Crazy Horse is there and he's laying on his back. He's passed out, and Wanderlei Silva's like kicking his feet, going, hey man, you got knocked the fuck out. So Crazy Horse wakes up and goes, boom, and just knocks out Silva with one punch. Silva goes down, he's on his face, and that was it. And everybody just pulled Crazy Horse out of the room, put him in some other room, and that was the end of the exchange between the two. Now, what happened after that is that now Wanderlei Silva's pissed off that he got cheap shotted by Crazy Horse. So he started talking more shit. Years go by. And then they have the Rizin events, right? And the second Rizin event, who shows up but Crazy Horse and Wanderlei Silva. And these guys still haven't forgot about their little problem 10, 11, 12 years ago. So what happens is Wanderlei starts laying in on Crazy Horse. You know, hey, you pussy. You know, he starts calling him names and stuff. Crazy Horse just looks at him and goes, I knocked your ass out. And that was it. That just made Wanderlei even more angry. More angry. So they start trying to go at each other in the back of Rizin, in the backstage. And people will separate them. Then that was all said and done. They got back to the hotel where they were staying, and in the lobby of the hotel, they go at it again. Start yelling at each other and start fighting. I have that video. There's also video of that. So these guys have had this ongoing rivalry, a battle of words. And actually, it's gotten physical a couple times. And it's been going on for 12 years. So my opinion piece says, like, Rizin, what are you doing? Have an open weight contest and let these two guys sort it out in the middle of the cage so we can all watch, right?
For sure.
That's what y'all want to see. Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, well, Charles Bennett, he was supposed to go back and rematch Kimura, right? After he knocked him out in like how many seconds. Which is actually Wanderlei Silva's like friend or whatever. I don't know what like their relationship was, but I guess they're kind of close. So
training partner.
Yeah, training partners, right? And then when he went back, what Charles Bennett was saying is when he went back, they wouldn't let him into the country. But what's kind of odd is, how did he get into the country before that to fight?
Yeah, it's kind of different. It depends on what your record is, man. If you get arrested, and it depends who's checking, and you know when they check you for your visa, if you have a felony or arrest on your record, they might not let you in depending what it was for.
But that's weird because what he was saying was like he never got arrested between the time he fought at Rizin and then the next event. So there is no anything criminal that he did. So like he was like he would go back. You know, I'm pretty sure he would go back and fight in Rizin. I'm pretty sure he would fight Wanderlei, and I'm pretty sure Wanderlei would fight him, no doubt, right? But you just confirmed that yes, people in that room during that video or after the video stops, because I think Wanderlei's been denying this, right?
Yeah, Wanderlei denied it for a long time. But I have so in Japan the MMA reporter community is very small. So I'm friends with all the guys who were back there at that time. I was in the crowd when that happened. I wasn't in the back. I was in the crowd. But at that time, they confirmed to me what happened. They're like, I'm like, I heard this. This is what I've heard. This is what somebody else is saying. What really happened? They're like, Wanderlei got knocked the fuck out. But I mean, it doesn't say anything bad about Wanderlei because no matter how big you are and how small your opponent is, if you're not ready to get hit and your hands are down and you just get cheap shotted in the jaw, you're gonna go down, man. That's just physics, you know.
Well, you know, I guess they should be able to. I guess they should handle their, you know, their long feud, like you said in your piece. So if you're listening, go to his site, go read the opinion piece because I'm pretty sure it's very informative of what's going on and what Rizin should be doing right with this situation that they have.
We've got all the videos there as well, so you can watch the videos and make your own decision.
Yeah, I'm gonna go check it out right now. Actually, after we're finished, to check out the videos and read what you wrote because I'm always interested in the history of MMA. And if you're watching MMA right now, you should be interested in the history of it because why? That's what fans do. If you're a fan of NFL, sometimes you go back. You know, like remember ESPN used to play like the old games. I forgot, like NFL Century or something like that, and they used to play the old games before your time. And I would go back and watch those to see like the guys that came before that and how they played or and just like in fighting, you look at the guys that fought before, right? Especially during the Pride days, of course. Yeah. You got to go look back at those things.
Yeah, if you're going to go into history, if you're going to go, you definitely got to watch all the Prides. You got to watch old Pancrase fights. You got to watch old deep fights. I would even suggest you go back to UWF, you know, wrestling, you know, and watch those. Like that's where like Funaki and those guys got their start, right? The guys who created Pancrase. That's where they all got their start.
Go back and watch Boss Rutan in Pancrase.
Oh, the man, Boss Rutan's awesome. Love that guy.
Amazing. Like you guys probably see him on commercials and TV, but if you know the history, Boss Rutan he was the man in Japan for a long time, right?
Guy Metzger's
Yeah.
another one. Yeah.
Ken Shamrock.
And Shamrock, amazing.
No, Frank Shamrock. Frank Shamrock, right?
I think both of those guys actually fought in Pancrase.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because they were all down with because remember back then in Pancrase they wore the boots, right?
Boots and the pants, the wrestler pants.
The wrestler pants, the boots, and you could not punch with the closed fist. You had to use your palms.
Right. So that's where Bas Rutten got famous, is because he had this ability to really pull his hand back far and expose the heel of his palm, and he could strike so hard like a regular punch with his palms. It's amazing.
Yeah, like that is amazing. You know, since we're talking about Wanderlei, did you check out Bellator last weekend?
Bellator. I saw the fight with him and Chael Sonnen, right? Where Chael Sonnen ended up smoking him.
Yeah. What do you think about Wanderlei? Do you think he's not the same?
It's not the same, man. He's been through wars, man. I love Wanderlei stuff. I saw his last fight for the UFC. It was here in Japan. He fought Brian Stan, which was that was Brian Stan's last fight as well. And Wanderlei whooped his ass. Yeah, bad, man. I just saw Wanderlei just go, pop, 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 pop. Just like punches were coming from everywhere. It looked like a cartoon, man. It looked like a superhero cartoon. But I think everyone's got a certain finite number of fights in them. You know, your jaw can only take so much, your brain can only take so much, and at a certain point, you start to get over the hill and you start to on your downward slide.
That's true. What Wanderlei needs is he needs somebody that's gonna want to fight his style of fight. Then you'll see Wanderlei come out, and matching him against Chael was, to be honest with you, not a good idea by Bellator. They should have matched him against somebody that was just going to stand there and swing punches with him to make it entertaining. So, who knows? Did you see any other fights? Did you see Fedor? What did you think about Fedor?
I saw Fedor versus Mitrione, right? That was a very good fight. That was interesting because, very uncommon, but they had the double knockdown where they both ate a punch, and it just, Mitrione got up faster than Fedor and got on top of him and took advantage of that. I thought that was fantastic. Fedor is another guy, tough guy, a god of MMA. Does he still need to be fighting? That's a tough one, isn't it? I'm not sure that I really think he needs to be fighting anymore.
Do you think the next fight should be Fedor versus Wanderlei?
Holy shit, I never thought about that. Pretty good, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they don't, they'll probably fight at heavyweight, It's not it's not a big deal for Wanderlei to be. I'm pretty sure he walks around 220 anyways. So
I've seen Wanderlei, and that's a big dude. When he came out in Rizin, even when he was on suspension, he had a grappling match with Sakuraba at Rizin. It was the second Rizin show in Nagoya, which I went all the way to Nagoya to watch. And Wanderlei, he can bulk up pretty quick.
Definitely he can, especially without USADA.
Yeah, I didn't want to say that, but they may have a little something extra in his morning cereal,
Exactly. He got those special doctors, right?
Yeah, he's got the old Mexican supplements, right?
What else on Bellator? Did anybody did you watch the whole card? Did you check the other fights out?
Well, actually, because of time, is really hard for me to watch an entire event. So what I do is I pick out the highlights, the fights that everyone wants to see. There was that one fight. Was it Bellator or was it? It was the UFC in Oklahoma City where one of the girls pooped themselves.
Oh yeah.
Have
you seen that before?
Did I do that before? Did I?
No,
see that
have
before?
you seen that before? Because you've watched so many fights.
Well, it's a famous story by Stone Cold Steve Austin. In his very first pro wrestling match, he said that he got slammed so hard that he actually shit himself. But there's been a few times where some people have actually had some accidents. But I mean, we're all human, right? Every human being has to do it, and they're under incredible pressure. And when someone's trying to pass your guard, sometimes they just get you in that right spot, and their elbow goes right on between your stomach and your hip bone, and it's just uncomfortable. And they're putting so much pressure, or you get slammed hard enough, or you just might lose control.
Yeah, especially with that body triangle on there tight.
Yeah.
And they're squeezing, and then they're squeezing your neck at the same time.
Just go
You
poop
know.
before you go in the ring, man. Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta empty the tank before you get in there, right?
Yeah. There was another lady who was recently on the Joe Rogan podcast talking about how she did the same thing, where she had gotten slammed in a fight and it ended up having to go directly from the fight to a Russian embassy party, and they ended up skipping the shower, and she was walking around with this horrible stench about her as she was walking around trying to be introduced to like diplomats and stuff. Oh, what a story.
So you're gonna be at Pancrase 288 this weekend. Then
Yep.
will you be at Deep also in the next couple weeks? And
Yes, I
then
will.
Rizin?
All three, and we're starting off with on Saturday, 2 days from now, as we record this, on the 1st of July, at the weigh-ins. So if you start following that live tweet hashtag, so it's hashtag Pancrase288. You can follow @MarkMMAJPN1 on Twitter and see all the live tweets and all the backstage, behind-the-scenes photos and interviews.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for coming on. Of course, every time there is something big happening in Japan, you're the man to go to.
Bring it on, man.
It's always good to talk to you.
Yes.
I would like to have you come back on, I think, before that Rizin, because that's a big card, and I'm pretty sure they're going to announce more fights.
Yes.
So you could break those things down. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of news and a lot of happenings that are going to happen in the month of July before that event. So, yeah, we'll get you back on before that.
Okay, looking forward to it, man. Thank you for having me, and everybody check out my website. It's www.mma-japan.net. Thanks for having me.
For sure. Thank you.